Konbanwa! Welcome back to Pandaboy Reacts, and tonight I'm reacting to a track from a compilation album called Who, What, Why, When, Where that was put out on the Moet label many years ago. I found this track on a channel called Church of Punk. Personally, I don't think punk should really be a religion, so I'm not going to go and worship at the Church of Punk. I like punk. I still remember a lot of experiences I had growing up that punk was very important, and still is. It's still kind of like something that I look back on and think about how that changed my way of perceiving the world. Anyway, I digress. What was interesting was that this comment made by a user, Pete Fender 529, says that he was the composer and producer of this track, and that it was a poem written by a guy called Neil Moet, who played drums on the track as well, and the rest was done by this Pete Fender on a Roland Juno 6 that belonged to his girlfriend, who at the time was the keyboardist for the Poison Girls. I remember going to see bands like the Poison Girls and the Lost Cherries and Conflict and the Icons of Filth. But this track was starkly different to every other track, and I think that a lot of people would really enjoy this track but probably never heard it because it appeared on an album that was full of more kind of hardcore punk bands, and that might not be their cup of tea, and so they missed out on hearing this. So I wanted to share this album and react to it all these years later. I'm still thinking that a lot of people sort of claim this is the first time I'm experiencing a song or a movie or whatever, and I think it's because obviously people want to make reaction videos, and the audience would like to see their first time reactions to something, but I think it's impossible. If you're into music, and you haven't heard some of the really famous songs that people react to, really, it sort of knocks your credentials for being a fan of music, doesn't it? I don't know. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into a bit of Moet the Poet. Okay, let's see, I've got to go. Let's have a look. Right, yeah, this is the Church of Punk website. Let me move that over a little bit, and let's start this track off.
Who told me I could take all your troubles away? Stop pointing the finger at these people who struggle opening doors.
Yeah, so wow. I mean, as an opening verse here, what told you I could help you and take all your troubles away, to pointing the finger at these people who struggle opening doors. Now, in my head, I wondered whether or not it's more metaphorical opening doors, opportunities, or whether it's more literal, people not helping the handicapped. I don't know. I guess it's open to interpretation, like most things, isn't it? I took it to be, at the time I was pretty skilled computer operator and programmer, and because of the way I looked, I wasn't getting many opportunities with my punk look, whatever. But actually, I worked on the night shift at a computer installation in my hometown, where they put me on the night shift so that I wouldn't scare the clients away. But yeah, it's like I think this song and me, this really speaks to me. This song, it reminds me about all the struggles I had, sort of balancing, not wanting to be just a sheep following the herd, wanting to be an individual, and trying to cope with all the barriers that society puts in your way when you're like this. Anyway, let's carry on.
Watch it all coming up. Keeping quiet about the things you don't know. Try to figure out what you don't know. Just sit close to me. Now lick the sweetness from my fingers and tell me what's new.
Ah, yes. Now, I remember listening to this, and I would sometimes look at a problem escalating and know that something's up, and all the bullshit prevented anybody speaking about it. And I would usually go to my closest confidant at the time, which was my dog, and I would have the conversations. And so whenever I listen to this song and he's talking about just listen to the sweetness from my fingers and tell me what's new, oh man, let's listen to that again.
Tell me what's new. You watch them congregate around their fetching catches and watch them die, drowning in a bedclothes sea of sweat. Get back to the dampness of your room. Your soul has rotted, living with ghosts in the past. Take the rotten route.
It's funny, isn't it, how he mentions the ghosts in the past, living with ghosts in the past. I've always found that is something that holds people back, is when people criticize other people because they're saying, yeah, you've changed, and personally myself, I think that people should be able to change without losing their integrity. Just because you believed something back in the day doesn't necessarily mean that you have to just always keep up this pretense as you develop as a individual. And it's sometimes that's the thing I'm criticised most about, is that I guess when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, maybe a little bit older than that, maybe into my mid-20s if I'm honest. Yeah, I was really into the whole idea of the punk ethos, as I say, and the rule for me was there is no rule, there is no like template to stick to. Make it up as you go along, and just because, like, you know, because I like Petula Clark, that shouldn't actually, like, you know, what's wrong with liking Petula Clark? You know, just because you like one type of music doesn't mean you should, like, definitely cannot listen to any others, but it's part of being part of a club, isn't it? And I don't know, I'll shut up and get on with Moet about it.
From town, and all the houses under the moon could not give me any real satisfaction, but don't take them away. They are all we have, and all they ask is will we have time to spend our money before the end.
Well, that's a bit of a profound statement on the current state of affairs, isn't it? Like, will we have time to spend our money on Disney Plus? Will we have time to, you know, like, it's the people peddling like punk that annoy me the most. You know, oh, where do I start? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. I won't get on to it because I'll just be blabbering on for too long.
Yes, I swear blind about the predictions you made, 'cause I know that the joy we missed will never touch the sky. And even if we did, I know I don't want no part of the scabby hands that cradle me from birth. Their idea of the immaculate conception has finally been smashed.
That's interesting. So, following on from a punk teenage and young adult life, I went on to become a skydiver, and I travelled around the world for quite a while, jumping out of aeroplanes. We'll never touch the sky. I defied that. I did touch the sky. And then when I came to Japan, my favourite band was Broken Doll, and they have a brilliant song that I will react to sometime called Reach to the Sky. That's another one of my favourites. But yes, Moet the Poet, your outlook on life is really bleak, and I guess that's why it touched me, and I could relate to it so much, because when I was young, sure, I didn't have a bad childhood at all, but I did think the future was really bleak. It just seemed like, I suppose it's you know, Thatcher's Britain, and like lots of unemployment, no opportunities, etc., etc., and yeah, that probably is why this song has such you know, place in my heart, for want of a better word. Alright.
and all they do is sing songs about fucking in cars. Father, tend to the things that are broken in our house. Mother, why has it come to these extremes? Can't you see the meaning is huge? It's worse living here.
Interesting. Very interesting, because I think you can tell, this poem set to music, awesome music, by the way, Mr. Fender. It's really speaking of the banality of life. When you're sitting observing how other people are so accepting that life is just going to be banal and pointless, and like the kid that grows up and says, oh well, there aren't any jobs and I'll just stay in work in a factory and I'll have my dreams killed, whatever. Yeah. And it's like looking out on society and thinking, why? I suppose, like, if you think about it, Disney put this idea that we should dare to live out our dreams, and then reality seems like, really bloody bit of a damp squid, isn't it? When you're like, well. Life ain't quite as as wonderful as Disney led me to believe it would be. But then, I like to think that it's setting a challenge to us to say, no, life is what you could make of it.
Spitting out blood and living with fear. Spitting in the face of construction, slitting their throats.
Well, there we go. That was Moet the Poet. To listen to the whole track without me interrupting and blabbering on about it, check out Moet the Poet on the Church of Punk YouTube channel. Alright then, well, I'll head off and see you again soon. Take care, bye.